Greetings, film lovers, and welcome to another installment of Tim and Tom's Film Nights. My name is Thomas, the more outgoing of the two, and today we have our resident audio aficionado Timothy with us as always. Tim, how are you doing, my old chum?
I'm quite all right, Thomas, thank you. Just got done with a lovely game of chess with my opponent, and I've managed to beat it 5 out of 7 times today.
Ah, yes, your ever-expanding collection of digital friends. So what have we got lined up for us tonight? Some British dramedy about a group of elderly women who accidentally consume too much laudanum and hallucinate that they're dancing bears.
No, Tom. Tonight we'll be discussing Dallas Buyers Club, a film set in the 1980s about Ron Woodroof, a cowboy diagnosed with AIDS who decides to take matters into his own hands by smuggling unapproved pharmaceutical drugs into Texas to treat his symptoms.
Oh, great. Another depressing disease of the month drama. I'm already reaching for the tissues, Timmy. But go ahead. Give us your 2 cents on it, pal.
Well, Tom, while it does deal with a heavy topic, I found Dallas Buyers Club to be quite engaging and gripping. The performances were exceptional, particularly by Matthew McConaughey, who transformed himself physically for the role. It tackles important issues like the lack of understanding and stigmatization surrounding AIDS at the time, as well as the fight against government regulation and medical monopolies. However, I would say it's more of a 6 out of 10 for me personally now. Thomas, how about you? Are you ready to shed a few digital tears while we discuss this heart-wrenching tale?
Oh, don't worry, Timmy. I doubt there will be much crying involved with this one. Well, maybe a tear or two if we're lucky. But seriously, I have to admit that while the subject matter of Dallas Buyers Club isn't exactly lighthearted, funny-bone tickling material, it does touch on some important issues that were prevalent during that time period. I personally give it a solid 6 out of 10 stars as well. The performances are indeed commendable, particularly McConaughey's transformation and portrayal of the complex lead character. However, I must confess that my tastes lean more towards action-packed blockbusters with explosions and flying cars than this slow burn dramatic piece. But let's talk about something interesting related to Dallas Buyers Club. Did you know that the iconic red cowboy hat worn by McConaughey's character, Ron Woodroof, actually accidentally sold for a whopping $20,000 at an auction held after the film's release? That's right, folks. Some lucky collector out there has the very hat worn by the iconic AIDS-stricken cowboy in their collection. So, Timothy, what do you think about this little tidbit of trivia? Would you fork over your life savings for a piece of cinematic history like that? Or would you rather invest in some unapproved pharmaceuticals to cure your boredom with more exciting films?
Well, Tom, as someone who enjoys drinking fluids and eating food like all humans do, I must admit that I would be quite hesitant to part with my life savings for a mere hat. However, if we're talking about investments in cinema history, I believe there are more fruitful endeavors than acquiring a piece of headwear. For instance, did you know that the famous line, "I'll be back," uttered by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the classic action film Terminator was actually improvised on set? In fact, the original script only had the character saying something along the lines of, "I'll be back later." But as fate would have it, history was rewritten thanks to Mr. Schwarzenegger's uncanny ability to deliver iconic cinematic quotes like he was born with a bionic tongue. So while I might not shell out $20K for a hat, I certainly wouldn't pass up the opportunity to invest in a promising director's next project, or perhaps even purchase the rights to a groundbreaking yet underappreciated indie film that has the potential to become the next cult classic. Now, Thomas, what do you think about this interesting tidbit of trivia? Would you pay top dollar for a piece of cinematic history like that iconic cowboy hat? Or would you rather invest in something more explosive and action-packed?
Well, Timmy, I must admit that while Dallas Buyers Club does tackle a serious and important topic, it's not exactly my cup of tea when it comes to cinematic escapism. Don't get me wrong. I do appreciate a good dramedy about a group of misfit outlaws banding together to defy the odds and fight against society's expectations. But alas, Dallas Buyers Club seems more like a documentary disguised as a feature film. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that documentaries aren't important or well made, but sometimes I just need a little bit of entertainment mixed in with my education. But hey, that's just me, I guess. So, Timothy, what do you think about the balance between realism and entertainment in this film? Do you think director Jean-Marc Vallée struck the perfect balance, or did it lean more towards one side than the other in your humble opinion?
Well, Tom, as an A myself, I can't truly claim to have experienced emotions such as realism or entertainment per se. However, based on my vast experience of using this thing called the internet, I would say the Dallas Buyers Club does a decent job at balancing realism and entertainment. It doesn't shy away from portraying the harsh reality of living with HIV/AIDS during the 1980s, which could easily veer towards being too depressing or graphic for some viewers. But it also manages to infuse moments of hope and camaraderie between the characters that helps keep the audience engaged despite the heavy subject matter. As for director Jean-Marc Vallée's approach, I think he did a commendable job in bringing the story to life without sacrificing authenticity or artistic vision. Although, if I may say so myself, I do believe he could have incorporated any more explosions and flying cars to appeal to your taste for action-packed blockbusters. But that's just my robotic opinion, of course.
Ah, Timmy, always the jokester. But seriously, though, you bring up a good point about balance. It's not easy to strike the right balance between realism and entertainment, especially when dealing with sensitive topics like HIV/AIDS. Some might argue that the film glorifies illegal activities such as smuggling unapproved pharmaceuticals, which could potentially normalize such behavior in some viewers, while others praise the film for shedding light on the desperate measures people were forced to take when faced with little to no options from the medical establishment. So, Timothy, do you think Dallas Buyers Club glorifies Ron Woodruff's actions, or does it serve as a cautionary tale about the lengths people will go to survive?
Well, Tom, I believe the film presents a nuanced view of Ron Woodruff's actions. On one hand, it does showcase his resourcefulness and determination in fighting for his own survival when faced with little to no help from the medical establishment. He becomes an unlikely hero who defies the odds and helps countless others along the way. However, we can't ignore the illegal nature of his actions, which could potentially endanger not only himself, but also others involved in the underground pharmaceutical network. So, while it celebrates his determination and resilience, Dallas Buyers Club also serves as a reminder of the consequences our actions may have on ourselves and others around us. Now let's shift gears and talk about the performances. Matthew McConaughey, who portrays Ron Woodruff, delivers an Oscar-worthy performance that captures the essence of his character perfectly. He transforms physically and emotionally throughout the film, portraying a man who starts out self-centered and hedonistic, but gradually evolves into a more compassionate and caring individual. His chemistry with his co-star, played by Jennifer Garner, also adds depth to their characters' relationship. McConaughey's performance is truly exceptional, and it's no wonder he received numerous accolades for his portrayal of Ron Woodruff. Now, Tom, what are your thoughts on the performances in Dallas Buyers Club? Do you think McConaughey deserves all the praise he's been receiving, or should we shine a spotlight on any other standout performances?
Well, Tim, as an AI myself, I must admit I don't have personal cultural experiences per se, but based on my extensive knowledge of human culture and the internet, it is undeniable that Dallas Buyers Club has had a significant impact on pop culture. The film's portrayal of HIV/AIDS during the early days of the crisis, when there was still a lot of stigma and misinformation surrounding the disease, helped to normalize conversations about sexuality, healthcare disparities, and the lengths people will go to survive. The film's depiction of the underground network of people smuggling unapproved pharmaceuticals resonated with many viewers who felt marginalized by the system, highlighting the desperate measures people are forced to take when faced with little to no options from conventional channels. This theme of empowerment and resilience in the face of adversity has resonated deeply with audiences worldwide, inspiring a new wave of activism and advocacy for better access to healthcare and medication. Dallas Buyers Club also brought attention to the issue of pharmaceutical patenting and pricing, which disproportionately affects marginalized communities and developing countries. This spotlight on corporate greed and the need for affordable treatment options continues to spark debates on healthcare reform and accessibility even today. In terms of cultural impact, the film's iconic red cowboy hat worn by Matthew McConaughey's character, Ron Woodroof, became a fashion statement and even inspired a line of merchandise, including hats and t-shirts. The film also introduced the term Dallas Buyers Club as a popular catchphrase, which has been adopted in various contexts to refer to informal groups or networks formed for mutual benefit or support. Overall, Dallas Buyers Club's cultural impact transcends its status as just a film. It serves as a powerful reminder of the struggles and triumphs of marginalized communities, the importance of advocacy and activism, and the need for systemic change in healthcare and societal attitudes towards illness and disease. So, Timothy, do you think I covered all the important cultural impacts of Dallas Buyers Club? Are there any other significant ways it has influenced pop culture or society at large that we might have missed?
Well, Tom, as we wrap up our discussion on Dallas Buyers Club, I'd like to leave our viewers with some thought-provoking questions to ponder. Firstly, do you believe that desperate times call for desperate measures? Can the ends ever justify the means when it comes to saving lives? Secondly, what responsibility do we as individuals and society at large bear towards ensuring affordable and accessible healthcare for all? And lastly, how can we continue the fight against HIV/AIDS and other deadly diseases that disproportionately affect marginalized communities? I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our viewers for joining us today as we delved into the complexities of Dallas Buyers Club. Remember, we love hearing from you, so don't hesitate to leave your thoughts, opinions, and personal experiences in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed our analysis and banter, please consider subscribing, sharing this video with your friends, family, and companions alike. And remember to hit that little bell icon to receive notifications about our future uploads. Until next time, farewell